Good day everybody, my name is the Arch Assassin and welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be talking about the 2025 and 2026 Premier League table. I'm going to be stealing or borrowing Spencer FC's formatting with the league table. I've done a little bit of something different with it, not too vaguely different. So all the credit's going to go to him. You can check him out in the description below. So we're just going to get straight into it. Obviously, you guys know I am a United fan, and I say that proudly, even though that they put me through domestic violence in our relationship. So, furthermore, let's continue on. Starting off with the relegation, I ended up putting in 20th Burnley, in 19th Sunderland, and 18th Wolves. I generally thought Wolves' time in the Premier League has come to an end, and I was correct. And I generally think Sunderland was going to be the only team to go straight back down. Well, the other team to go straight back down. However, as you can see on the screen now, Burnley's actual position was 19th, so there's a +1 there. Sunderland didn't finish in 19th, they finished in 7th, so that's a +12, which I'm not happy about. I all credit to them. Congratulations to Sunderland. They've done amazing this season. I'm not speaking about Burnley because Burnley haven't really done that well. Same with Wolves. I predicted them to finish 18th. They finished dead last in 20th, so they're the -2. Yes, I love the fact that I got Sunderland so low and they got so high in reality, and I'm upset with myself putting Wolves in the relegation, and they did get relegated. I have a soft spot for Wolves. They're like my soft spot team in the UK, and I'm just so gutted to see them finally go down. They will be straight back up from the Championship, I guarantee it. So it's going to be quite interesting, to say the least. So going from 17th to 7th now. In 17th, I had Everton. They finished in 13th with a +4 difference. In 16th, I had Brentford. They finished in 9th with a +7 difference. In 15th, I had Crystal Palace. They finished 15th. So they've got a 0 difference because I got them dead on, and I'm happy about that. I always know Everton, they can fluctuate between 17th and 5th. They always are either set between 17th and 5th. As for Brentford, for me putting them so low, I generally think they were going to struggle this season. Clearly not. After Brian Mbeumo came to Manchester United and they couldn't capture the Ivan Toney strikerhood, but they did, and they've proven that they can fight, and I generally think they'll fight again next season, probably season afterwards. I wouldn't be surprised if they become a regular top half of the table team. Crystal Palace, I knew they were going to be 15th because this is where they always are. They're always either 12th to 17th, and I've put them in 15th because I just felt like that's what they would get after they got stiffed over by the likes of Nottingham Forest to go into the Europa League, whilst Crystal Palace are demoted to the Conference League. They won it as of yesterday, so I'm happy for them. I truly am. West Ham, I had 14th. They finished in 18th. That's the biggest shock, in my opinion, of this season. West Ham getting relegated. Their relegation battle between West Ham and Tottenham was amazing. I loved it, and I was rooting for West Ham to go down. No biasry involved. So yes, when they failed and they ended up getting relegated, I felt heartbroken for them. I don't think they'll be following Wolves come straight back up. Hell, West Ham might even win the championship with Wolves fighting them. So God knows what will happen there. But I wish them the best of luck, and I wish the fans the best of luck in the championship. In 13th, I had Leeds. They finished in 14th. So I got them close as well. They were on a -1 difference, unlike West Ham is on a -4. Fulham, sorry, Leeds. They're Leeds. I was expecting I wasn't expecting much this season, and they definitely didn't show much. Um, and again, non-biased because of me being Welsh. In my opinion, the Welsh players shone more than any other player on the pitch, 9 times out of 10. That one time, every other game, or every so often, the Welsh players are barely on the pitch, but when they're all on the pitch, you can definitely see the connection. As for Fulham, I had them finishing in 12th. They finished in 11th, so there's a +1 difference there. Leeds and Fulham, they're one of those teams, both their teams are mid-table. They're constantly getting mid-table, and if they have a bad spell, they're going down. Nothing much there. Brighton, I had them finishing 11th. They actually finished in 8th, and I believe they qualified for the Conference League. So, over the moon with this prediction. They got +3 difference on my prediction, so I'm happy and over the moon for them. I hope they do well in the Conference League, because it would be absolutely amazing if we see another English team or British team win the European Cups. As for 10th, I had Bournemouth. They finished in 6th, getting Europa League. Congratulations to them. It's their first European competition in their club's history. And I generally think that they can be a dark horse. They might win the Europa League. And if they do, I wouldn't be surprised to see if Bournemouth stay at this position, 10th to 5th, etc. In ninth, I had Tottenham Hotspur. Spurs, they actually finished in 17th. My second biggest minus in difference. I generally think that they would do what Manchester United did this season and improve. And that's what I had for them after they finished in 17th last season, with Manchester United finishing in 15th. I generally thought that they were going to have a shock to the system and improve. Clearly not. They actually did a lot worse. They didn't win any cups. They were fighting constantly the bottom half of the table. They weren't at the top half long at all. They were fighting for the bottom to stay out. So I could see Spurs going down next season, and I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't think they will. I generally think they'll stay up by the skin of their teeth for a third straight year. In 8th, I had Manchester United. I generally think, well, as I said, same argument for Spurs. They would wake up and they would improve, but they wouldn't massively improve. However, they massively improved. They, instead of finishing 15th, and me predicted them to finish 8th, we finished in 3rd with a +5 difference. I am brilliantly happy with this. Michael Carrick taking over Ruben Amorim has been brilliant. Sesko, Brandon Buemo, Cunha, Lemons, they've all proven their worth as great signings this year. Bruno, stable, he deserves to be one of the greatest centre mids to be talked about right now. And I don't think he might have a place in the Premier League top midfield of all time. God, especially after breaking this assist record. But then again, the argument with Declan Rice, the argument with Odegaard and many other different midfielders, it's been close, but no one stands out more than Bruno. Kobbie Mainoo's been brilliant. The United team has improved in second quarter to second half of the season, and I'm overly pleased with that. In 7th, I had Nottingham Forest finishing in 7th, and they actually finished in 16th. My biggest difference with a -9. I generally thought that after they got into Europa League and they argued with Crystal Palace, they were going to do well. They did in the Europa League, and that's all I'm going to say. In 6, I had Newcastle. They finished in 12th, a whole 6 difference. I was expecting so much more from Newcastle this year. Time and time again, after they've got bought out by the Saudis, they've been slowly progressing, getting better by every half of the season, by better, by every half of the damn season. Clearly, this season they didn't. They actually looked a lot the worst they've been since their takeover. So Hopefully next year they fight for the top 10. I would love to see Newcastle in the fight, especially trying to fight Sunderland. I'd love to see that. In fifth place, I had Aston Villa, and they got fourth with a one difference. I generally wanted to see Newcastle in Conference League and Aston Villa in the Europa League because it's Newcastle, it's their first proper European push, and I generally would have loved them in Conference League. Aston Villa, I wanted them to get the European Europa League for a second year to see if they can actually fight it with their strong team. I'm just bewildered with them winning the Europa League recently, and this is why I had them in fifth. I wanted them to go back into the Europa League, see how well they can do, and prove themselves. If they get to the semi-final, hell, quarter-final, in my prediction for this year, they would be fighting for your not even Europa League anymore. Hell, screw Conference League, Champions League, and unpopular opinion. If Tottenham do get relegated, say next year, and Villa is in the top six again, I don't think Villa might become that new top six team, with Newcastle banging on the door to be number 7. Moving on, in fourth place, I had Manchester City. They actually finished in second. So I generally thought, with all these allegations and point deduction rumours, which could still see the light of day, but I generally thought that they were going to panic a bit and struggle and get Champions League, and then next season they would get the deductions, which I think they will. They will get the deductions in this new coming season, and I generally think it will hurt them. It's going to be heartfelt. I'm going to feel so much joy seeing them go down if they end up going up. But then again, they're my noisy neighbours, so I'm not really that upset either. But I am a tiny, tiny bit frustrated if they don't get these deductions because it's financial fair play. In third place, I had Chelsea. They actually finished 10th, so that's a -7 difference. What the hell has happened with Chelsea? They have been the most inconsistent club, in my opinion, in the top 6 the past 5 to 10 years. 5 years. Yes, they won the Champions League back when they won it last. In that season, they finished 11th and won the Champions League. They beat PSG to become the world champions, Club World Cup champions. And then they have this. They have this howler of a season. They shouldn't have won it. PSG should have won it, then won the Champions League. And I think they're going to win the Champions League again, but that's a different story. In second place, I had Arsenal. They finished in first, and for first place, I had Liverpool. They finished in fifth. So the reason why I had Arsenal in second, because I generally think or thought that this would have been it for Mikel Arteta. It would have been close against Liverpool, but just again, they would have failed because of coming down the hill. They made it to the top, towards the top, fighting, then they just fall down. They do it time and time again, but this year they didn't. They won the Premier League. I am not happy about it. I'm happy for the club, just not happy for the fans because they're delusional. As for Liverpool, I'm winning it back to back, regrettably, of course, but finished in fifth, which is even more shocking. So I am over the moon with my predictions. I've got a lot right and a lot wrong and a lot in the same kind of boundary. But now we're going to tally up the scores and we're going to do what Spencer does, and we're going to give a official placement of points. So after adding up all the points, like Spencer's videos, he states, doesn't matter if it's positive or a negative, the differential between the actual position is the points. For example, here you've got Manchester United at 8th, right? So between 8th to 3rd, how many point gap that is, and that's the points, and that's the difference. So Manchester United has a +5 difference, so 8th to 3rd is 7, 6, 5, 4, 83. That's the 5 points added to the total. So just follow the difference and you're happy. However, considering this is the first time I'm doing it with these points and accumulation and predictions, I settle on a 83. A score of 83 for my first ever proper predictions of the 2026 season. I'm not happy about that. Obviously, here what I've got after looking through some of the videos before this video I made for you guys. A good score, generally any total score under 40 is good. A bad score is anything over 50. A really bad score is anything over 70. And an excellent score is anything under 30. So I know I said that backwards, but that's what I've got it listed as. So I finished this season with 83 points. I am more impressed with the Wolves prediction more than anything. I'm very not happy about the Sunderland one, but I am happy for them, don't get me wrong. I think the next video that I'm going to be doing for you guys is definitely predicting next season. So stay tuned for that video. And until next time, my name's been the Welsh Assassin. Please like and subscribe. Ac hwyl fawr.